So how to get your visa approved? First, what is the B1, B2 US visa? Now, the B1, B2 US visa is usually combined, and issued as one visa. It is issued to people who are traveling to the US for business and pleasure or medical reasons. Usually, any social tourist, visit temporarily, to the US, it is always recommended that you apply for a B1, B2 visa, which is usually combined as one visa. Now, this visa doesn't allow you to work. You're prohibited from working. So if you're caught doing that, you would be violating the terms of your visa, and there are penalties for doing that. Also, you are allowed, in most cases, to stay up to 6 months. That's usually the required time. It doesn't mean you have to go there, and stay for 6 months, but this category of visa allows you to stay in the US, for up to 6 months. Now, typically is issued for 2 years, but I've heard, people who got less time. But like in Nigeria, when we apply, I always get to, most people always get 2 years, so you have it for 2 years. And then once you visit, you are, in most cases, unless you're limited or for whatever reasons, maybe at border control, you can stay for up to 6 months. In the US, you're not allowed to work, no recourse to public funds. Now, once you're attending your visa interview, most times you would have a little window of time to actually present proof to the interviewing officer that indeed you have genuine intentions, and then you should be granted a visa. And so the first thing you want to do is that you want to ensure that you have a proper itinerary. The purpose of your trip has to be clearly cut out. Why are you traveling to the US? You want to ensure that you have a plan, an itinerary that includes, okay, if you're going on vacation, if you're going to spend 3 weeks in the US, you want to have a plan, understand your plan, because don't just get someone to put it down for you and then you don't understand what you're doing. Let's say, for example, you're going to the US for 3 weeks. Okay, you have a plan that says you're going to spend 1 week in Houston, you're going to spend another 1 week in Florida. While you're in Florida, you probably want to see Disney, Disney, and then maybe another week you want to go spend it in Vegas, and while in Vegas, you're going to spend time in LA as well. Just by having a plan, you're also able to just prove to them that yes, you have done your own research, and based on that, you actually do want to visit, on vacation. If you're going on business, certainly you should have documentation showing maybe, let's say your business partner there or whatever you're going for. Just have documents to prove or to verify the purpose of your trip. Now, the second, reason, which is very, very important, is strong ties. You want to ensure that you do have strong ties in your home country. Now, you would ask me, what are strong ties? Strong ties could be your family, it could be a job, it could be, let's say, an investment you have in your country. It could be, let's say, you just renewed your house rent. You do want to show documents, that proves that, you just renewed your house rent for 1 year, and then you don't plan to abandon that and travel. It could be that, okay, you have your parents, who are here, who you live with and who you cater to, and you're not going to abandon your, parents and go. It could be, when I mean family, it could be your husband or wife or anything, or a sustainable job, a business, an investment, anything. So basically, they're just looking for binding social or economic ties that would ensure that you return home, to your home country after your visit, because the category of visa you applied for is a temporary one, and they want to ensure that if they grant you this visa, you would return home. So these are things that you should consider, before you apply for your US B1, B2 visa. Now, another thing is you have to be able to afford your trip, because I know, you remember I talked about the fact that for this category of visa, you are not allowed to work and you don't have access to public funds. And so the immigration officer he wants to be convinced that you can afford to pay for your trip, and then you can, as a matter of fact, maybe be able to sustain yourself long after your return. Now, it is important for you to show that you're financially stable. If they are in doubt that you can pay for your trip, then you will be denied a visa. Like, I find that maybe in this part of the world, a lot of people are usually denied a visa just because the immigration officer is not convinced that they can afford the trip and that they would not work when they get there, because they don't want you to work. If you're applying for a temporary visa that prohibits you from working, they don't want to know that you're working with that visa category. It is illegal to actually do that. So you want to ensure that you have enough funds in your bank account to show. Now, I know that most times when you attend the US interview, they probably don't even ask you for any documents, but if they're in doubt and they're trying to clear that doubt, they would want to see that document. So you always want to go with your bank statement. That's how you can prove that you have money. Now, you would ask me, like, how much do I need to have? There is a video on my channel that I talked about how much money, in my response to that question, which really would depend on your personal circumstance. So you want to check the description box, and then you watch that video where I kind of broke it down and really explained how much money you should have in your bank account to successfully apply for a visa. So you need to ensure that you're financially stable. If someone is paying for your trip, normally you need to explain why. It doesn't really make it look good, particularly if you're an adult and then you're working, because they would actually want to know why the person is paying for your trip, and then they would consider that against any other information that you provide. If you have, let's say, a boyfriend, over there who is paying for your trip, they don't really like it that someone is sponsoring you, from their country. They want you to bring your money in. So by the time you're saying someone else is sponsoring and the person is in the US, even if it's possible, I would always advise people, if they're sponsoring you, let it be that their sponsorship is limited to maybe the accommodation because they invited you, you're going to stay with them, of maybe, let's say, like feeding, but you also show proof that you have money. So it's not just a case of, okay, this person is sponsoring me and he or she's going to foot 100% of the bill. No. Have your own money, so have your own bank account showing that yes, they invited me, they're going to provide accommodation, and maybe feeding, but I have my own money to do my own things, and maybe just chip in a little bit of shopping. It would make you look good. So I know I always said I was going to give you 3 tips, but I'm just going to go further and just add one bonus, right? Because I need to get this. Another thing you want to do is that you have to be prepared to explain your relationship with any contacts that you have in the US. Now, during your visa interview, you're going to be asked if you do have any contact, a family or contact in the US. Now, if you say yes, then you have to provide information of your relationship with that person. Now, the reason why they want to know that is because most people who want to migrate to the US would apply for the temporary visa because they think maybe it's an easier process. And then by the time they get there, they now have whatever family member or friend or spouse or boyfriend that they have there to petition for a more permanent stay for them. Now, they don't want that, for whatever reason, they do not want that. And so when they ask you this question, they want to assess if really you have strong ties in the US or the possibility of anyone who could potentially maybe make such application on your behalf. So if you do have a boyfriend, what you should do, what they want you to do is convince them that your relationship is not strong enough for them to petition for that change of status. If you have a family member, by asking that question, they just want to know. So if you have genuine intention and you don't plan to remain in the US, then you want to convince them that yes, you do have this family member here in the US, but because you equally have strong ties back in your home country, you have no plans to settle, that you're only visiting and then you're going to leave the country after your visit. So here are things that you should note, when you're applying for your US visa. I know that most times the process is, like I always say, your interview most times may not even last 5 minutes. If you want to know the questions and my suggested answers to those questions, which is basically what you would get, so you want to watch that video, I would include the link here. So do watch the video and share it with anyone you know would find this useful. So thank you very much for joining me here today. If you have a comment, I always respond to my comment to questions. So leave your questions here, and I would you will hear from me. So thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.